Alright, so today we are taking a journey to Bananaland. And this is by William J. Gans and Company from all the way back in 1950. So this should be good. If my intuition is correct, I think we will be learning about the banana republics that the American Empire kind of established in Central America in the last century or two. I could be wrong about that. This could just be a very fun trip into actual banana land. I actually think that would be a lot of fun, but I unfortunately think this is going to be a lesson on US imperialism in the Western Hemisphere. So I guess I could still be wrong. This could still be Bananaland, but let's just dive in and figure it out for ourselves, shall we? Oh wow, yeah, look at this. Journey to Bananaland. See, there's something like, oh, so romantic about this. Not romantic in like a sexual sense, but romantic in like a romanticized sense, you know? Like this, there is something so, so appealing about this time and everything. Just based on like the text, based on the graphic design of this poster, based on everything. Like this already just sent me back like half a century at least. No, 70 years at least. Yeah, produced by the William J. Gans and Company. That's interesting. I've never heard of that production company before. Oh wow, we get some reading to do. All right, so travel with us on the Great White Fleet and meet your neighbors in Middle America. That's funny, Middle America, not Central America, Middle America, almost like Mesoamerica. See how good they live and what they grow. Follow the banana right back to your own home. So this should be a lot of fun, I think, based on this description of what we're going to be watching today. So let's just dive in. I feel like I'm so tempted to like unpack and analyze this, but you know what? Sometimes it's better just to relax and let it happen. So let's do that. Let's just watch and take a journey to Bananaland. Did we get a lot of time to read this though? Probably like 10 or 20 seconds. Alright, so we just faded into the coast of some presumably Central American or Middle American country.
South of the United States, the blue waters of the Caribbean Sea once were known as the Spanish Main. This was because pirates sailed along these shores. Today, fast white steamships travel across the Caribbean with cargoes more valuable than pirates' gold. And officers in trim white uniforms...
What could possibly be more valuable than pirates' gold? You know, especially as like a kid at heart, nothing is more valuable than pirates' gold.
...pick up their golden cargoes from a place we call Bananaland.
A place they call Bananaland? Is there an actual place called Bananaland? I thought this was just a title that they attributed to like all of the Central American states. I really don't know if there's an actual Bananaland though. There could be though. I could be pleasantly surprised in a second.
This land, as you see on the map, extends from Mexico on the north, includes Guatemala.
Dang, look at this map. Hang on, we're going too fast across this map. Let's slow it down for a second. So we have all of Central America. All right, so the argument they're making is that all of Central America is Bananaland. Like this is Bananaland, what we're looking at right here, from Guatemala all the way to Panama. That's it's a really funny generalization to make about this land.
Includes Guatemala and Honduras, Costa Rica and Panama, Colombia on the northern coast of South America, and the islands of Cuba, Jamaica, and the Dominican Republic.
So that's so funny. So pretty much the entire like Central America, the Caribbean, and like northern South America is just all considered Bananaland in this context. That's that's really funny, but let's keep going.
Some of the capital cities of Bananaland are as large as Jacksonville, Florida.
Some of the capital cities of Bananaland, like they're really actually committing to this name for like this entire region of America. Like I thought they were doing it as a joke, but it seems like they're really taking it seriously, this Bananaland place. Like the capitals, like they're referring to it like it's an official country or something already. Bananaland.
Or Fort Worth, Texas. This is Guatemala City as seen from the air.
I think it's funny that he said this is Guatemala's city, as if Guatemala's main city isn't just called Guatemala City. At least I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'm pretty sure Guatemala's main city is just Guatemala City, but I could be wrong too, I guess.
The streets and public squares are well laid out and beautifully planned. Some of the cities of Bananaland are cities of strange contrasts.
Some of the cities of Bananaland, like, what are you talking about? There's different countries here. It's just, I cannot believe that they're just referring to every South and Central American country as collectively Bananaland. Like, that seems so obviously offensive.
Because they have been destroyed by earthquakes and since rebuilt. Side by side, you will find the old and the new.
These cities do look really nice, though. I do want to go and travel throughout Central America and see the old European architecture in some of these cities, because this is more impressive than a lot of what you'll see in most American cities today, at least.
Many of the buildings are of stucco.
Like, there is an amazing character to these old Spanish-American cities that just doesn't exist in American cities, I don't think.
The streets, however, are still quaint and typically Spanish-American.
The streets are still quaint and typically Spanish-American. Like, what does typically Spanish-American streets really mean? Wow, this is a nice looking street though. Like these little like outset, I don't know, window areas on top, and then like these little, this looks like an ideal place to live. Honestly, I'm falling in love with Bananaland a little watching this.
It is not unusual to see women with baskets on their heads.
Oh, okay, so this is, again, I don't know where exactly within Bananaland. I guess this is probably Guatemala based on what they said earlier, but like, I guess this is early views of what, like 1950, 1960, yeah, 1950 Guatemala City right here. This is a pretty cool look at the early days of Guatemala City.
Outdoing the family.
But look at how these guys are dressed. Like, these guys are still wearing nice hats, nice jackets, like still very like Western European culturally, at least, I'd say. But then you do have women carrying like baskets on their heads, which to me rings not culturally European. I could just be the only one thinking that, but like, very interesting mix in these cities between the European influences and the actual Native American influences that still exist here.
Many North American firms.
Wow, look at this guy's freaking sombrero. Holy moly, is that a real sombrero for you if you've ever seen one? That's some great hat right there. And the white pants, like, oh man, people did look so good back in the day.
Do business here. In modern stores, you can buy things imported.
Even his kid looks the same too. His kid's wearing a freaking hat. His kid's wearing a little kid sombrero. He's got his little bag slung over his shoulder. This is, oh my god, this is exactly what I like watching.
Imported from the United States. People who live in the city dress very much like the people in our own southern states.
You know, that's funny because I was going to say the same exact thing. Not about their southern states, but everyone in this shot is definitely dressed in more of an American fashion than I would really expect from 1950s Guatemala City.
There are many churches.
But you know what? Maybe that's the lesson that I just keep learning over and over again, is that like everyone from this time period kind of just wore like westernized clothing. But you know what? I just never get tired of learning that lesson, I guess.
People go to church regularly. They speak Spanish, of course, as most of them are of Spanish descent. If you wanted to greet them, you would say Buenos dias.
That lingering eye of the camera there on this woman taking her, grandma to church or whatever, I don't know. Sometimes the shots in there, that was a questionable shot. You stayed on that woman for too long, whoever the photographer was. That was a questionable reason to keep filming that shot. I don't know. I don't know if anyone feels the same way. Sometimes the shots in these are a little incredulous.
Which means in Spanish, good day. The people are very polite. Sweet frozen ice is as popular as our own ice cream.
Sweet frozen ice? So that's what they're eating instead of ice cream, is just sweet frozen ice?
Every public square has its public water fountain or watering trough. These women are filling their homemade jars with water just as their ancestors have done for hundreds of years.
I wonder if that's actually true. These women's ancestors filled up these jugs every single day at this same fountain for hundreds of years. I mean, it's possible. I bet this fountain is a few hundred years old, but I don't know if that's just figurative language that they're employing or not.
In all middle American cities, the market is a very busy place. Here you see
This is a crazy busy market, actually. Looking at this, like, I was not expecting there to be so many people crowded into this little plaza space. Like, what can they be selling that's so different from one another that they need all these stalls? I guess we'll see. I hope we'll see. Hopefully it's bananas.
it is a very busy place. Here you see all kinds of strange sights. Most of the
Yes, please show us the strange sights. I would like nothing more than a tour of the strange sights of the Bananaland Bazaar.
farmers who live around the city are Indians. Each morning they come into
Indians, all right, so not talking about Indian Indians. They're talking about like Native American, probably Maya, probably. I mean, if we're talking about Guatemala, like pretty Mayan adjacent, I guess. So that's what they're probably talking about, not actual Indian people.
the city bringing hand woven
It's sometimes it is confusing because there are like Indian people in some of the South American countries. I felt like I needed to clarify that.
blankets, handmade pots and leather goods, fruits and vegetables from their small farms.
Dang, the vegetables, he still says vegetables in the old-timey way.
Do you like ripe melons?
This is fascinating seeing everything that these people wear, though, because they do have like a very specific hat fashion culture. Like they all have these white straw hats, which, you know, I definitely enjoy. I definitely think they're a good look, and they definitely help in like the sun probably, but it's an interesting look. It's a shame everyone from Bananaland doesn't wear these hats nowadays. It does make it seem like everything's coherent in a certain way.
Small farms. Do you like ripe melons?
Oh man, what sort of melons are these? These kind of look like pumpkins almost. Like, I've never seen a melon like this that are just sold in markets like this. I don't know. Are these pumpkins? They must be some sort of squash.
Ripe red tomatoes?
Wow, those look like some good tomatoes, actually. It's funny that the narrator actually said the term tomatoes. I didn't know that people actually said that. I thought that was just part of the phrase. I didn't realize people actually pronounced it tomatoes. But yeah, that's what we're looking at here, tomatoes.
Bright colored peppers? Or perhaps
Wow, this guy's just like touching them all, like massaging the peppers with his bare hands. That's just a pretty funny shot to get.
potatoes? So you see, the foods they eat are not unlike those in our own country.
That statement itself was actually pretty telling, that they didn't expect these people to be eating that similar of foods to us, despite the fact that they're on like the same landmass as us. You know, like they're just eating the native plants that they can grow here, and that's still what we do in America. We grow corn and beans and squash. You know, it really isn't that different, you know. I guess that's what he's trying to say. It's funny that like there is this perceived potential for difference, and so when we're not actually that different from people who live on the same North American continent as us, I feel like that blew like early Americans' minds a little bit, that they weren't that different than the Spanish-speaking colonists further south.
In our own country. But now we've left the city for a trip into the highlands. There in the distance is one of the many volcanoes to be found in this part of the world.
Oh wow, this is a great shot too. This volcano with the cloud just around its summit. I like appreciating the good shots in these, and this is definitely one of them. Dang, but doesn't this look just so idyllic? Like, oh my gosh, a banana farm just on this huge lake in Guatemala with a beautiful mountain in the background for scenery. Like, this place, I want to go here. I want to live here in Bananaland forever.
In the highlands, we find mostly all the people are Indians. Their transportation is primitive, old-fashioned. They believe in doing things as their fathers did them.
You know, it's pretty ironic that they're calling their transportation old-fashioned, but they didn't even have donkeys until Europeans showed up and brought them to America. Before that, they would have been using probably nothing, probably just like their own backs to carry stuff. So to them, this was actually like a very advanced mode of transportation, having a donkey or whatever this animal is carry all of these sticks. Like to them, they were like doing so well, you know, like they were not carrying these on their back. So it's just, it's funny to hear the narrator say that their mode of transportation was so outmoded when to them, I don't think that would have been the case.
And their fathers were here long before the Spaniards came 400 years ago. Some of the Indians cannot even speak the language of a neighboring tribe. But when they get to market, they will have no trouble selling their wares. Just
That is so fascinating. I feel like it is very easily forgotten just how like diverse the indigenous people of Central America really were. Like there were just such different tribes and language families that didn't blend with each other. Like it was just a melting pot of its own before Europeans arrived. I feel like we've kind of just glazed over that because colonization kind of ruined a lot of that, but there are still native communities present that still hold on to their culture. It's very interesting that they decided to pay attention to the languages that the indigenous people speak.
as soon as this old man hurries by, we'll take you into the next town.
Dang, what is all this stuff growing back here? Is this like agave or something? These are some huge plants, but I don't really recognize what they are. Are they? No, those aren't banana trees. I know what banana trees look like.
Water is not as plentiful as it is in most North American cities. A pool in a public square serves as a community laundry.
I feel like half of the point of showing this is just to brag about us having like access to fresh water all the time. Like they didn't really, I don't think anyone is actually that interested in how these people washed their clothes. But I feel like the real reason they included this is just so that there are some differences in the standard of living between the American audience that's watching this and the people that are on screen. It just feels like I don't really care at all how these people washed their clothes. So I don't know why we're including this in a documentary about Bananaland. But you know what? Maybe we'll find something interesting.
Children here do a lot more of the family work than most of our parents ask us to do. It is a part of their education. Have you ever heard of the ancient...
Wow, these are some real indigenous people, though. I don't know what I was expecting, but like, yeah, these are some legitimately never before colonized people by the looks of it. Which again is just really cool to see. Again, part of the value of these old programs is just the anthropology that they've accidentally preserved by just filming these sorts of people. Like seeing this woman in all her garb with her necklaces and her daughter right there where she's braiding her hair. Like what a scene of like household life that we never would have really gotten if they didn't just take this one shot for this one scene in this particular part of this film. It's just like I love these incidental preservations of like indigenous culture like this. I love that sort of stuff.
Maya. It is spelled M-A-Y-A.
Like look at all her beads. Like I bet those all have meaning and stuff, I bet if people today looked at this woman, they would say, wow, like look at all her beads, I mean, I'm saying that too, but I feel like I don't understand the context of the beads, but I bet there are people that would understand it.
These people are descendants of the Maya Indians.
They are descendants of the Mayas. See, I didn't want to assume that, but I think that is a pretty good assumption for this part of the world.
And are said to be the oldest civilized people in the Western Hemisphere.
The oldest civilized people in the Western Hemisphere. So, I have a problem with that sort of statement. Like, obviously, I don't have a problem with calling the Maya people civilized, but the problem with that is that it suggests that if these people are, like, inherently civilized, then there are other people in the Americas that are inherently not civilized. Again, it's just that, like, manifest destiny, like, mentality where, like, some people are good people and some people you can just abuse and colonize because they're bad people. Like, even if you hear them saying good things about these Native Americans, that also goes into justifying their negative thoughts towards the other Native Americans. It's always like an iffy statement to say these certain people are civilized people, but those people aren't civilized people. It's just, it's a little questionable. Again, this is all about Bananaland, for Christ's sake. So I think we're kind of throwing caution out the window in that regard. But again, I just feel like I should address it.
When the Spaniards came and conquered the Maya, they found brilliant costumes, art, and a culture unknown even in Europe at that time.
See, this is amazing too. Like, we're preserving, like, the actual dress of these Native American people. I mean, I guess this kid's hat isn't pretty native, or his shirt, really. I guess this kid isn't wearing anything native, but this woman seems that she's done up in some sort of native garb, which alone is just an act of preservation. The fact that she put herself in front of the camera has preserved her aspects of fashion and culture more than anything else really could have. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see her little headband that keeps her hair together and her little, like, satchel thing. I don't know. I wish we could have like a more wide shot just so that we could see like more of her outfit even. But, even this is pretty cool.
So now it is believed that the civilization of the ancient Maya may be among the oldest in the world. These then are among the very first Americans.
It's kind of a weird statement to say that these are like the first Americans because they're part of like the oldest civilization in America. It's like splitting hairs. So what does that mean? So it means that the other Native Americans that weren't part of the Maya were not civilized, so they're not as American or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they're suggesting something weird by saying these people are the first Americans because they were part of like a civilized society, or a civilized society compared to like, I don't know, the Cherokee or the Sioux or whoever, like who were uncivilized by the standards of the narrator. It's all a little iffy, this sort of language is all I'm trying to say. It's like they try to sneak it in as like a compliment for these sorts of people, but it only just reveals the line of thinking. And if you follow that line all the way back, you'll eventually find that there are some Native people that do not benefit from that form of thought.
Today, Indians grow maize or corn just as we have learned to do. That is their principal food crop.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier, right? That they also probably just grow corn. Like I guess we're not that different. They grow corn, we grow corn because corn was, domesticated in this region of the world. I think it's actually domesticated in like Mexico, but pretty close to Bananaland.
Only a few have their own cattle, and the farmer who owns an ox is a rich man. As you can see, their way of farming is very simple compared to ours.
Whatever happened to kids on the farm like this? Just carrying a stick, walking in front of the dad with the plows or something. Like this is the ideal life for a kid, I think, as well. Just like spending time outside, probably getting to explore sometimes when they're not farming so hard. Like, I don't know, I'm falling in love with Bananaland, I think, just because of the lifestyle. What it would be like to be a child in Bananaland, I don't know. It seems so fun.
Compared to ours.
It seems so fun, I say, as I watch these guys farm with like primitive farming tools. Like, I bet this was back-breaking work. But I think that like, I don't know, growing up in it, when you're used to it, like it all feels so idyllic still.
On higher ground, we find the cocoa.
Dang, what fruits are these? Holy moly. Oh, are these chocolate fruits? Or I don't know, what are they called? Cocoa? I almost said cocoa balls. They're not cocoa balls, they're cocoa seeds? Cocoa pods, maybe? Maybe they're cocoa pods.
Cocoa tree. In Spanish, it is called cacao.
Cacao? Cocoa? Okay, whatever.
Here is a cacao pod.
Oh, they are cacao pods. No way. Okay, I'm proud of myself for that.
The bean grows in this pod. It is from this bean that we get our cocoa and chocolate.
Oh man, this is not a great shot. I was waiting for the cameraman to rack focus so that we would get focused on this cacao pod, but I guess not. I guess we're not doing that. You know what? It was on the verge of being like a really impressive shot, but now because we're not doing that, bad shot. I like to be honest. I like to call out the good shots and the bad shots. That shot was a little disappointing, to say the least. I wanted to rack focus.
The sharp knife he uses to open the pod is called a machete.
That's so funny that they have to specify what the sword to open the pod is called. Like, I feel like everyone nowadays knows what a machete is, but I guess maybe not back then.
Learned another Spanish word.
Like, did people just not know what machetes were? I guess maybe our interactions with Bananaland might have, like, informed us on what a machete actually is. I just feel like a machete is, like, a well-known piece of equipment. I don't know. Like, I'm a city boy who's never worked on a farm a day in my life, and I still know what a machete is, I don't know. I feel like we all know what those are.
Cocoa beans are spread out in the sun to dry. They are packed in bags and shipped to countries all over the world.
Wow, this is actually pretty cool. So this is the actual, like, farming operation, or, like, industrial refining operation, if you would even call it that, which is, it's interesting. It's interesting because I like to imagine that this, like, sort of manufacturing always takes place in, like, a clean environment that's, like, secure indoors. So it's so funny to see, like, this industrial output just out in the sun baking to dry. It feels like it's not exactly, like, commercialized fully at this point yet.
People drink a great deal of cocoa, but Americans drink more coffee. Here are coffee beans being stripped from a bush. Did you know that
coffee beans being stripped from a bush? So are we just getting a tour of like all of Bananaland's agriculture? Is that the idea? Because I imagined we were just going to be talking about banana farming this whole video. So the fact that we're learning about how they grow coffee here as well, it's just, I guess it's a pleasant little surprise as well.
That they look like little red berries? Well, that's the way coffee grows. You might almost think they were cherries. or cranberries.
Wow, it's so funny to watch this little kid harvesting the coffee, though. Like, I guess they're not that little. How old do you think this kid is? Probably like 12 or something, right? Like, they are just using child labor. But again, like, life on the farm doesn't seem that bad. Like, honestly, being a kid picking these berries off the branches seems like an ideal childhood to me still. Like, I would accept child labor on a farm like this over, like, going to school any day. Which I know is bad, but it's like, it just seems so much more fun out in the farm.
Although we call them coffee beans, they really are seeds that grow inside their red fruit.
Yeah, this is making me curious what these fruits actually taste like. I'm sure I'm not the first person to wonder this, but like, what do they taste like? Like, do they taste good? Can people eat them? What I'm more curious about is like, because we have to farm them anyways for like the coffee seed at the center, like what do they do with like the fruity pulp? Like, do they use it somehow? Like, I'm wondering about like the waste products of this process. Like, what do they use the rest of the coffee fruit for? Do they use it for anything or do they just throw it out? You know, like I'm curious.
Coffee is one of the biggest exports of Middle America. Large plantations may have 1 million trees and employ thousands of workers.
Dude, yeah, I can't get over these shots of the countryside. Like, they do just look so idyllic. Holy moly. Like, I know I'm probably boring everyone with how much I'm enjoying these shots, but it's just like, look at these hills, look at these trees, man. Like, it's totally warm over there, you know?
Coffee grows best on high ground with good drainage and is found only in the tropics. Carts first bring the ripe berries or seeds to drying pits where they're unloaded to dry in the sun.
Wow, this is a very ornately decorated cart or wagon that we're looking at right here. Like they're shoveling all these coffee fruits into the thing or whatever, but below that you can see somebody's actually gone through the effort of painting it by hand, and it looks really nice. Like it's, I don't know, it's just like I've never really seen trucks done like this before. So it's interesting to see that somebody went through all the effort of hand painting this little coffee cart.
Here is a typical drying plant where coffee beans are spread out in the...
Oh wow, look at how big this place is. So they just spread the coffee beans out over this huge area and let them dry? That's funny. I guess there's no better way to do it. It feels so, like, uncontrolled in this manner.
The outer hulls are removed by washing. Here you see men pushing the beans through a watering trough. This washes away the hulls or outer parchment.
This washes away the outer hulls or parchment. So are they actually like blasting them with so much water that the fruit just like peels off? Is that what they're saying? I don't quite understand. I wish we were getting like better sight inside of this little trough right here so that we could actually see what's happening.
When they are thoroughly washed, they are spread out.
Oh wow, well, look at this. All right, so the beans are actually coming out of here. That is interesting. So they must be using this water to scrape off the fruit somehow.
In the sun to dry. After they turn green in the sun, the beans are split, packed into bags, and shipped to coffee roasters all over the world.
Wow, this is crazy that, like, just this amount of coffee is, like, what their output is. Obviously, they have other, like, pads where they're drying out more coffee, but, like, this doesn't look like that big of an operation. It doesn't look like industrial scale coffee production by any means. Like, this still looks like a bit more local produced.
We all know what happens to coffee after that. Now a huge...
I actually don't know what happens to coffee after that. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know what he's referring to, but whatever. This is supposed to be about Bananaland.
Streams of water being sprayed over a banana plantation is our first introduction to why this rich area is called Bananaland.
All right, so that's actually a pretty good statement that he just said. So the very first thing we're looking at in regards to a banana plantation is this huge water hose that's just irrigating all the banana trees. And that is our first clue for why this area is called Bananaland.
Plants need a great deal of water. In the dry season...
Dang, look at how much water they're using. That is insane.
They have to be watered in this overhead way. Another method of bringing water to the plants is by surface canals. This is called irrigation.
Dang, so they're not really growing bananas where they're ideal, are they? If they need this much additional water, then they're kind of being grown outside of like their natural range, which is kind of funny considering like this whole place is called Bananaland. So you would imagine this would be like within their ideal range. So it's funny and kind of a little ironic that they need to use so many more resources like extra water in order to keep them alive here.
Here is a large banana plantation. And now, before we go any further, let's take a look and see where bananas first came from.
Dang, this is like a huge plantation though. I wonder how many bananas they get out of this. Like, could this one field support like one US state's needs in bananas? I wonder like how many bananas are actually being produced in this one spot.
See where bananas first came from.
Oh, this should be fun, where bananas first came from. I've also made a video like this for Atlas Pro where I tracked down where every fruit comes from. So if my memory serves me right, we'll be looking at like Southeast Asia, I believe. Maybe like India, but I think more Southeast Asia.
Bananas originally came from the moist...
There we go, awesome. See, sometimes I worry I forget about the things that I make videos about, but you know what? I'm proud of that. I definitely remembered where bananas come from.
Tropical region of southern Asia.
Dude, and what's so funny about this map is just like I've made this map before for my videos. Like I have had banana icons show up on the map to illustrate where bananas come from. Obviously, I didn't use this same exact icon or anything. This is actually a weird like bushel of bananas to show for just one banana, but I think it's just funny how similar this is to the video that I made on the same exact subject. Despite being like 70 years apart, nothing beats having an icon on a map. You know what I'm saying?
Alexander the Great found them here.
Alexander the Great found bananas in Southeast Asia? That I did not know about.
Time banana roots were taken.
Though I do like how everything has to be connected back to like Western civilization somehow. Like bananas aren't important unless Alexander the Great saw them once, Like why? Again, another unnecessary detail that feels like they just wanted to include for some reason.
From their original home to the east coast of Africa. From here, the banana was carried westward across...
Dude, I'm still so in love with this map because this is just what I do on Atlas Pro. Like, it's so funny seeing just an older version of what I still do.
Africa by the Arabs. Portuguese explorers before the time of Columbus found them growing here and took them to the Canary Islands off the North African coast.
This is a very interesting story, however, how bananas have just by human hands crossed the entire world pretty much. Like that is an interesting story.
Around the year 1516, Father Tomas de Belanga brought them to the islands of the West Indies and later to the...
Dude, the West Indies, that's another name that is just very antiquated now, the West Indies. Like, I don't think anyone would still use that term West Indies to describe these islands. Like, now we would just call these the islands of the Caribbean, I think.
Mainland of what we call Middle America.
Still so funny that we're calling it Middle America, too. Dang, nothing like a good silent zoom in on a map. Like there's no problems with the audio there. We just did not get any narration. We just zoomed in on the map and faded out to another scene for some reason. Again, I love the editing choices in these.
Now, after clearing the jungle, here's how the banana is planted. Holes are dug a foot deep.
You know what? That was really cool, though, that they gave us a little background history on the banana.
Deep and 15 to 18 feet apart.
Dang, hang on a second. So what are they doing? They chopped off this little part of the banana and now they're planting it? Is that what's happening?
Holes are dug a foot deep and 15 to 18 feet apart. A banana root a bit looking...
Yeah, they chopped off like a huge part of the banana root and now they're planting that to grow another tree. That's interesting.
Very much like a tree stump and weighing 3 to 5 pounds is planted in each hole.
Where are they getting these roots from, though? This looks like they had to have killed, like, a whole tree in order to have gotten this. Like, that's why I'm curious. Like, how did they actually get this, like, root stump without killing the actual plant?
Each root has 2 or more eyes, like the eyes of a potato. Here's how the root would look if you could...
Dude, we're getting another animation. I love it. This is so good. I'm so happy now. Again, this is so similar to the sorts of animations I had to do on Atlas Pro.
See it in the ground. Each bud or eye on these underground stems can develop into a plant or a shoot with leaves. From these sprout many cord-like roots which grow in all directions.
Again, this is hard to do, having this little white thing grow and change shape over time. This requires like a lot of different frames, a lot of like changes between shots, you know? Like again, I'm trying to respect the animators here.
They absorb water and minerals.
Like this is honestly more involved than any animations I do for Atlas Pro now that I think about it. Like I've never shown something this in depth before. And we're only like 5 seconds into this animation. But look at the roots too. Like look how complex that is. Like I never do animations like that.
From the soil. The first leaf appears above the ground 3 or 4 weeks after planting. Only the stronger shoots are allowed to grow. The others are cut away. In about...
Dude, see, this animation, now this is getting even more impressive. This is becoming, like, artistic, you know? Before, it was pretty, like, minimalistic shapes representing ideas. But now we're getting into, like, I don't know, some really interesting details with this animation. I'm very impressed right now. This, like, whole shape morph, like, this took a lot of work, that's for sure. And the colors change. This is so cool. I'm so glad I got to watch this.
6 months, the plants are more than 10 feet high. And at 9 months, they are ready to blossom.
Wow, that was just, you know, an amazing animation. Again, like that 3 months alone, like how much change took place on this tree. I don't know, this all must be like hand-drawn.
About 10 months after planting, the flower has appeared at the top of the tall stalk, and as it grows, it turns downward.
Well, again, these are 1950, so not only are these like pretty impressive animations, this is like really early days of animation still. So this is like, I just can't hit home enough how impressed I am with these animations.
Small bananas soon appear.
Like, look how complex this is, this freaking banana flower thing. It's so many shapes, it's all moving, you know, it's a complex ordeal to animate this sort of stuff. So I really want us all to appreciate it.
Appear. As the bananas grow, they turn upwards toward the light.
Oh wow, you know what? I didn't realize that those were becoming bananas. I thought those were just like the petals of a flower, but I guess they turned into bananas. That's interesting. That's funny because I've seen a banana tree before, plenty of times actually, and I know that that's what they look like. I guess I was just so in awe of the animation, I wasn't actually paying attention.
At the end of about 14 months, the bunch is fully developed and ready to harvest.
Dang, so it takes just a little bit over a year to grow a full bushel of bananas? That's interesting. See, you can never actually grow these in the US because you never get 14 months of uninterrupted sunshine.
The stem which bears the bunch of fruit grows up through the center of the stalk and comes out on top. So you see, the young banana plant looks like a tree, but it is not a tree because there is no wood.
You know, like they're calling these not trees because they don't have any wood or any bark or anything. But like, is that really what makes a tree, that it just has bark? They're tall and they have leaves, you know, like what else does it take to be a tree? I don't know. It's just like, this is a classic biology argument right here.
The trunk or stalk consists only of overlapping leaf sheaths. And as you saw on the chart, each plant...
Like, if they're not a tree, what are they? Just a plant? Just an herbaceous plant? Like, people will say they're like fruits or whatever, but like fruits grow on trees. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I think banana trees are trees. I can't imagine anything else to call them.
Bears only a single bunch of bananas. Bananas are harvested the year round. The men usually work in teams of 3. One is called a cutter. And here is a team starting out to work.
See, doesn't it seem so much fun, just you and 2 of your buds, like, going into the banana plantation and just cutting bananas all day? Like, I don't know, like, I know that's, like, a simplistic life for sure, but, like, it's still so attractive to me for some reason. Like, can I just be the cutter in Bananaland, please?
The cutter uses a sharp-edged tool on the end of a pole to nick the plant a few feet below the bunch. See how he does it? As the plant...
Hang on, so what he's doing is he's chopping into the tree itself, right below the bushel of bananas? That's interesting. I would have thought they would have just, like, cut them down or something.
Plant bends. The bunch comes down on the shoulder of another man who is called a backer. Each bunch weighs from 50 to 70.
All right, so they're cutting the tree basically in half so that they can harvest these bananas. Does the tree die, or does the tree just, like, recover from this?
75 pounds. When a man has to carry this load on his back, it is easy to understand.
So one of the guy's jobs is just to catch the banana tree as it falls? See, again, like, seems like a pretty simple job. You might get crushed by a banana tree once in a while, but, like, not so bad otherwise.
Why he is called the backer. The fruit must be cut at just the right stage of growth, when the bananas are not too fat and not too thin.
Yeah, you know what? I've always been curious what like a ripe banana actually tastes like when you take it off the tree when it's ripe. You know, because they do have to cut these bananas like a week or two before they ripen so that they can ship them to American markets. So you never actually get to taste like a actually ripe banana. You always have to taste like a banana that has just sort of ripened after having been cut off the tree. But I want to know what an actually ripe banana off the tree tastes like. Is it any better or is it like just the same? I'm curious.
Plant is cut down when its bunch has been harvested. The bunch is made up of clusters called hands. Each hand has from 12 to 20 bananas, and each bunch has from 6 to 14.
That's actually really funny that they call them hands, because I wonder if that is just because they look like hands with fingers and everything, because I don't think these people would be calling them hands. They would be calling them like manos or something, you know, I wonder where that name comes from.
15 hands. Now, how many bananas are in the bunch? The bunches are laid carefully on padding to keep them from being bruised. Rough handling at this point leaves bruise marks on the tender fruit.
You know, it really is impressive that people are able to harvest bananas from Central America and get them all the way to North America, or I guess New York or wherever, without any damage. It is just so much work and so far to send these bananas for them to just be perfectly pristine when they get to the grocery store. It's very impressive. I feel like nobody appreciates how much care has to go into shipping these bananas.
The whole operation, right from the first cutting, is planned and timed. For from the moment the truck arrives to start the bananas on their way to you, everything runs on schedule. Even as the bananas are loaded for the first stage of their journey, a ship of the Great White Fleet is on its way, scheduled to make port at the same...
A ship of the Great White Fleet? Am I supposed to know what the Great White Fleet means? Is that a very common thing back then? Is that how people referred to the U.S. Navy back then or something? The Great White Fleet? Why... What am I missing here, you know?
At the same time, the bananas arrive from the plantation. Notice how padding is placed over the bunches at all times to protect them from the sun, to keep them from being scarred by rough handling.
That actually is interesting that even all the way back then they were still padding these bananas the second they were cut off the tree. I don't know what they're using. It kind of just looks like canvas or even paper or something, but it's protection nonetheless. I would never have imagined they would have put so much care into it all the way back then. Now, this has to be canvas or something. It can't just be paper, or else it would have just tore when they picked it up.
Here is a tractor trailer on its way to a place on the plantation where each bunch of bananas will be washed and inspected before being loaded into freight cars for the trip down to the coast in the waiting steamship.
See, now what I'm curious about is how much money do you get for one of these big bushels? You know, is this a lot of money for these people, or is it just $5 or something? Because I feel with the price of bananas now, this bushel would only be maybe $50, you know?
See how each bunch is dipped several times.
Oh, this is interesting. So we're actually getting to see the cleaning process and everything too. This is really cool because this is what you don't actually get to see usually.
Great care is taken to see that the bunches are clean before they leave the plantation.
I wonder what's in this liquid, you know? It can't just be water and soap or something. There has to be some strange chemical, I'm sure of it. And that's also so funny that that's all the washing that they get is just 5 or 6 dunks in some random liquid and then they move it on to the next station, you know? That's all that happens to it. See, now they have to put it in another vat. I bet this is just normal water because they're trying to wash off whatever they just used to wash the bananas off with. Or at least that's my guess.
Now as the bananas...
Yeah, there must have been something bad in that first tank in order for them to have needed to wash it off a second time afterwards.
are loaded aboard the freight cars for the trip to the coast, and with banana leaves carefully protecting them from the sun, You might like to know the banana is one of the few fruits that loses its flavor if allowed to ripen on the plant.
Oh wow, that is interesting. See, I was asking about that earlier. So we actually do get sweeter tasting fruits because we harvest them before they're ripe. Is that what it's saying? I want to know. See, exactly. I want to know for sure. I want to taste a banana ripe off the tree just to put that to the test. Is that really true, or did they just tell us that so that we feel good about them harvesting them earlier than they should be? I don't know. I really just don't know.
The banana must be cut green and ripened artificially. While we think of it as a hearty, everyday food, this is only because so much care is taken to see that it arrives on our tables in good condition.
That is also funny how they use the banana leaves to pack in these bananas. I don't know, I guess it makes perfect sense. This is a waste product of the thing that they're producing, so it makes sense for them to try to use it in some other way. It's funny that they actually are using sustainable methods for packaging, because I bet nowadays we are using far less sustainable materials. I bet we're packing these with styrofoam or something now. So it's just so funny to see them doing it the right way all the way back then.
Even building a railroad to haul bananas through this tropical country is a story in itself. One of the first banana railways took 25 years to build only 100 miles of track.
Dang, that's actually pretty wild. It took over 25 years to build 100 miles of track, with the only purpose of this railroad being to bring bananas to market. Not even to bring people to other cities or commuters or anything, just to bring bananas from the plantations to the American grocery stores. Just so much effort went into securing our access to bananas. It's actually wild. You would think bananas are made of oil or something with how much effort we put into securing our access to them. But no, we really just liked bananas that much.
The ship, one of the Great White Fleet.
One of the Great White Fleet. So what does that mean again? Let me see this ship before we keep going. So I guess it is white. It is a white ship. So maybe that's exactly what they're referring to. They're just a bunch of white boats that transport bananas back and forth between the Americas. I still don't know what the Great White Fleet exactly means. I guess I get that they're white boats, but I don't get it, all right?
One of the Great White Fleet meets the train. Then begins the race against time to get the bananas into the air-conditioned hold of the ship. It is interesting to...
Wow, you know what? I did not expect for them to have an air-conditioned hull in this boat either. I guess that, does make sense when you're transporting food, across an ocean. But, again, I did not know that they actually had that sort of stuff all the way back in the 1950s. Again, the amount of resources we poured into getting access to ripe bananas is just insane.
Know that if it were not for fast transportation, bananas in North America and the rest of the world would be a rare delicacy. A fruit no one could afford to have or to buy. As workers carry the bunches to the conveyor belt, a man hacks off the end of each bunch with the same kind of knife we saw used on the plantation. Remember? It's called a machete.
It's so funny that they're driving home this machete point. I feel like this is part of the reason why I even know what a machete is, because so many people saw this and remembered that it was called a machete, that now I have, through American cultural osmosis, also just already know that it's called a machete. It's just so funny because the fact that they reiterated that it's called a machete really just emphasizes that they thought people did not know what it was called. So I don't know, I just think that's really funny. It's not only did they go out of their way to tell us what this was called, but they did it twice. Why do they want us so badly to know what a machete even is? What does it even matter what the name of the little knife that he uses to cut these banana bushels with? I just don't get it. I don't get why we're focusing on the machete so much.
The conveyor belt, which carries the bananas from the dock to the ship.
Oh, this is actually pretty cool too, this conveyor belt. I don't know, I wasn't expecting this either. Everyone's just carrying the banana bushels on their backs the whole way, but then all of a sudden we actually have a machine to move the bananas. It's just funny, I don't know, I was not expecting it.
Even has canvas pockets to protect the fruit.
See, that's an interesting little thing too, the canvas pockets, so you actually put them in the canvas bags and then have them carried up. That's just, I don't know, it's so advanced. It's so so much thought went into getting access to bananas. Again, it's just like, well, why did we do all this work just for bananas? But I guess it paid off because look at this, everyone's making money, everyone's got work to do. It's just, I don't know, it's funny how much thought went into keeping bananas safe.
An inspector watches each bunch as it comes aboard. If he thinks,
dang, this is the job I want. Just looking at the bushels, seeing if they're good or not. How do I get that job? Like the world's easiest job.
a bunch will ripen too soon, it is taken off and used.
We kind of just lost a little bit of audio there. I hope it's not that much, but I don't think we lost that much information. I feel like I need to address that we did lose something there. This is not a lot of time for him to inspect like 100 or 200 bananas all at once, Like, I guess it's not that easy of a job. I guess it's still pretty easy of a job, but it's just like, I guess he does need to be like watching vigilantly for any, rotting or anything. But it doesn't look like he was being very vigilant. He kind of looked like he was staring off into the distance there for a second.
Now the ship is about ready to leave.
Damn, look at all the smoke covering this thing. Like, that is something that you do not get nowadays in, like, big machines. It's just, like, pillars of smoke coming out of them.
Within 12 hours, 10 million bananas have been taken aboard and the ship is on its way.
10 million bananas have been taken aboard that ship and are being taken to the US. So I guess that is like at least some sort of number for me to figure things out. So I guess like how many grocery stores are all these bananas going to? Probably like the entire East Coast, right? Like 10 million bananas, like that's a lot of bananas. Or maybe not. Maybe that's honestly not that many bananas. That's like maybe like a week's worth of bananas for like one state, maybe.
Way to the United States.
I eat like a banana every day, so like I am definitely implicated in all this.
From New York, New Orleans, San Francisco, and other ports in the United States, bananas are shipped by rail across country in special cars that are kept cool in summer, warm in winter.
Again, I just did not expect us to have like refrigerated or like temperature controlled like shipping carts all the way back in the 1950s just to take bananas to market, Like that's I feel like that's the only thing we use this sort of technology for, is just for the bananas. Maybe not. I could be wrong about that. I just find it so surprising that, like, yeah, we just cared so much that we had them in, like, climate-controlled cases all the way from Central America to, like, wherever in America they were being sold.
Arriving at their destination, the green bananas are bought by the wholesaler, who hangs them on racks in a warm ripening room.
See, this is actually pretty cool too. Now we're getting like a behind the scenes look into like the storage of bananas in like the grocery store wholesalers. Like in the grocery store that you and I go to every week, like do they have like a huge bushel of bananas like this just like in the back? Because I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but like my grocery store has this big thing of bananas on it, and like I can only imagine they must have more bananas somewhere in the back. And I'm wondering if this is what it looks like back there. Like they actually have them like on the bushel. That would be pretty cool. I don't know if they do or not, but like I'm curious now because that's what we're seeing on screen, if that's the case now.
The bunches are kept hanging anywhere from 3 or 4 days to a week. Now a bright golden...
Hey, that was May 5th, 1950. That's funny.
yellow, the bananas...
I wonder if they did that on purpose. That was Cinco de Mayo that they just showed us on the calendar. I don't know if that was purposeful or not, but you know what? Cinco de Mayo.
...are ready for market. The even temperature of the ripening room, between 60 and 60...
Do they celebrate Cinco de Mayo in Bananaland? That's what I want to know. Because I guess Cinco de Mayo is more like a Mexican holiday, so it might not be a Bananaland holiday.
58 degrees... plus proper humidity and...
I think I'm always going to refer to Central America as Bananaland from now on. I don't know if that's offensive, but like, it's just such a funny term.
Ventilation has brought out the full natural...
It probably is offensive. You know what? I won't do that.
...natural flavor of the fruit. He's cutting off what we call hands of bananas from the main stem.
See, this is what I wonder if they do in like my supermarket, right? Like, do they actually bring these bananas on the bushels to my supermarket and have a guy like this cut them off when they need to put them on display? Or do they actually receive them cut off from the bushel and then just put them all on display immediately?
The color of the skin is a
Again, very interesting that there's an African-American fellow handling all this, though. Again, it's just like an interesting like workplace diversity thing. Like, there have always been people from all walks of life doing all sorts of jobs in this country, and it's interesting whenever these sorts of films reiterate that has like always been true. It's a pleasant little surprise when you see a diverse working place like this.
Guide to ripeness. Some banana packers sort and grade the fruit for quality and ripeness.
Yeah, look at all these guys. I mean, I guess it's not diverse when they're all one specific group of people, but I guess that raises other questions, but like, I don't know. I guess these guys are still working and having jobs. Like, in a super racist society, I don't think the race that everyone doesn't like would be allowed to like handle everyone's food. So I think it is like still an act of progress to see these guys working these sorts of jobs. That could just be me, but you know what? I like to see it no matter what.
In some places, you can buy bananas all dressed up in special banded packages.
That's so funny because I actually do see bananas with those things still on them in my grocery store, like with the sticker wrapped around them. Like, I wonder if they do that in the grocery store still. I mean, I guess they must. I don't know.
The golden fruit is now ready for its final trip to your neighborhood market. Carefully boxed to keep them from bruising.
Again, I do think it's really funny that these guys are just handling all this food with their bare hands. Like, nobody's wearing gloves at all, which, like, again, it's a banana, so you're not actually touching the part that you eat, but like, I don't know, it just feels like they should have been wearing gloves at the same time. I don't know, it's like a food preparation thing. It's like you shouldn't be touching other people's food with your bare hands. I don't know, though. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just a germaphobe or something, but it seems weird that they're all barehanded touching all these bananas.
Bananas are bought by the pound and sold by the pound. Does this look familiar?
Look at this grocery store. Holy moly. Yeah, my grocery store does not look like this. Obviously, we still have tons of food like this, but like just the way it's organized, like this is this is a blast from the past. That's what I'm saying though. Like, films like this have preserved even interesting stuff like what grocery stores used to look like. Like, they probably didn't even think about it at the time that they were preserving like what the American Institute of the Grocery Store was like, but like they definitely have, and it definitely looks different than my grocery store looks now. So no matter what the subject of these old programs are, they're still so valuable just for like the little glimpses into everyday life that they've preserved.
Ah, they've caught her eye.
Dang, these people are dressed up for the grocery store, though. I know people used to do that. It's actually pleasant to see people dressed in nice jackets to go to the grocery store.
Bananas are a favorite breakfast fruit in every home. Sliced over hot or cold cereal, they top off any dish.
Are they actually slicing 2 banana slices onto a bowl of Frosted Flakes? Is that actually the American breakfast that they were selling at this time? That's pretty funny.
And help start the day right.
You know what? I should try that. I should try Frosted Flakes with banana. I bet it's not bad. It's just like, I don't know. I guess it's probably pretty good. Dang, that's what she prepared for her husband, though. I thought that was for the kids, you know? Like, the husband kind of needs a little bit more. Like, obviously, she's trying her hardest, right? Like, she's preparing food for her whole family. I don't blame her for taking the easy route and just slicing 4 banana slices onto some Frosted Flakes. It's just, I thought that was what the kid was going to be eating. Oh, it is what the kid was eating, too. No way. So I guess that's fair, at least. 5 banana slices on some Frosted Flakes. Call it a day. I bet it's even better than I'm expecting it to be.
School cafeterias that cooperate with state and federal agencies in providing balanced lunches for children.
Dude, is this what school lunches used to look like? Oh man. Like, forget about preserving the American grocery store. Like, why didn't we preserve this? Like, this is what we need to be showing people. This is what our school cafeterias used to look like. Look at all this food. It might not be true. This might be like food propaganda or something, but like, I like to think there's a little bit of truth in this still. Like, look at all this. Oh man, this looks like a nice spread right here. American schools definitely don't look like this nowadays.
Cafeterias that cooperate with state and federal agencies in providing balanced lunches for children report bananas are among the most popular and best liked.
Is that just a plate with a banana on it? I feel like nowadays you would just have bananas in like a tin or something. Like you wouldn't have an individual plate for a banana. That's funny.
Fruits that are served. Bananas can be served in many different and many attractive ways. Blended with...
Hang on, can I actually see what they're making here? This looks like banana and like jello, and then this looks like banana and like grapes. I can't tell with this one. This one looks like bananas on like a chocolate fudge sort of thing. None of this looks very healthy though, which again looks freaking awesome for a school lunch at least.
Fruits, nuts, and gelatins, they provide high food value and nourishment.
This is also something I've always wondered about bananas. Like, are they actually like nutritious for you? Like, I eat so many, but like, do they actually like help you with anything? I just feel like maybe they do. Maybe they are like super nutritious or something. It just feels like they're so like bland nowadays. Like, it's hard to believe that a banana is actually good for me, you know?
Many of us enjoy a mid-afternoon snack when it's a healthful banana milkshake. If you don't...
Banana milkshake? You know what? That's funny because I do make banana milkshakes too, and they are still pretty good. I'm glad to see like the American lifestyle really has not changed at all since this was made.
Don't have an electric mixer. Just mash a fully ripe banana into mother's mixing glass, pour in cold milk, and beat until smooth.
Is that the recipe for a banana milkshake? I guess that's a banana and some milk shaken up. So I guess, yeah, you're right. I thought there would be more ingredients like sugar or something, but no, I guess back in the day, just mash up a banana with some milk and drink it. You know what? I should try that too.
Doesn't that look good?
There's just like the dry way the narrator delivered that line. Doesn't that look good? Like I can barely even see it, dude.
Yes, and it's nourishing too. And for dinner, see what mother has.
Is this a commercial for bananas also? You know, I wasn't even thinking about that. You know, I thought they were just trying to inform us on Bananaland, but now it seems like they're just trying to sell us on bananas a little.
For dessert, banana gingerbread shortcake.
Banana gingerbread shortcake. Again, this is just like a little much, I would say. A little OD.
Just another of the many tempting ways in which this nutritious fruit can be prepared. So now that you've seen where bananas come from before they reach your table, our journey to Bananaland has ended. We hope you enjoyed the trip.
Oh man, our journey to Bananaland has ended, but it was so much fun.
We know you like bananas.
You know what? I do like bananas, so you got me there. This has been a presentation of the Institute of Visual Training in cooperation with the United Fruit Company. Okay, so this was pretty much just banana propaganda. Oh man, I can't believe I didn't see that until now. Wow, okay. This is pretty much banana propaganda then. That's so funny. All right, but that's the end of it. So this was a very interesting program. I definitely did enjoy getting to see what like the banana plantations in Bananaland or Guatemala presumably looked like. That was a very interesting insight into like a very old sort of industry. But I feel like we also did shy away from like the political aspect of bananas. I feel like we've all learned about it by now, how we set up what were literally called banana republics in Central America in order to ensure our supply of bananas. Like so much more went into the banana industry that this program didn't even explore. So much went into actually coercing the governments to allow us to farm and make plantations like this. So I'm kind of disappointed we didn't go there with this program, but again, this was made by the United Fruit Company, so this is pretty much propaganda to make you believe that the bananas are being farmed like ethically and legally through a country that was willing to do so, which, is kind of questionable, but again, like this is made by the company selling bananas. So I didn't really expect them to expose their own wrongdoing. I'm just kind of disappointed we didn't get to learn about that here. Other than that, though, I also can't stop thinking about how I do also just eat bananas all the time still. Like what we just watched here was pretty much cementing like bananas' place in like the American food iconography. And bananas have never left ever since. Like we are still eating as many bananas as we were back then as we are right now. It's so wild to me to think that like something I take as very regular and mundane, like a banana, is actually has this huge history behind it that we just put so much work and effort into ensuring that we had for the rest of time. It's just funny to think that me eating a banana today is partially a product of this program that we just watched. Like this helped convince people that bananas were yummy, that bananas were good, that they were farmed ethically. Like this helped push bananas to the American market. And we are still feeling the effects of that to this day. We are still tasting the effects of that to this day. So I find it very interesting that we learned about it here. But yeah, I think those are all my thoughts on this. So if you enjoyed watching and enjoy what I do here on this channel, then please check out the link in the description that'll take you over to the Internet Archive where you can leave a donation. The Internet Archive is where I get all of these old programs from, so they deserve all the donations that you guys want to give them. So please donate. That's all I have to say about that. And with that, I think we can just cut to black.